WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Tell me he didn't just...
Or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
The Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey, oh yeah.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon.
It doesn't matter what your name is!
Really? Yeah!
CB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you on the road, in fact. We are here at Senator Tommy Tomlinson's Children's Expo at Council Rock High School South, 2002 Rockway in Holland, PA. Come on out. It's going on until 2 o'clock. We'll be here live on the air until 1. A litany of exhibitions going on here, stuff both inside the gymnasium as well as outside in the parking lot. We've seen fire trucks out here. We've seen ambulances. There's a whole bunch of stuff. The Ivyland Volunteer Fire Company is outside here, as well as the Levittown Fire Company, Northampton Township, a lot of local Bucks County areas. The Newtown Ambulance Squad is here, Northampton Township Police Department, and a bunch of stuff inside as well. We've got an astronaut right here in front of us. A representative from NASA is here. We've got Sparky, the firefighting dog. He's here. I saw Boomer, the mascot for the Trenton Thunder. He was over here holding up our Intercontinental Championship belt that we've got here. We've got the belts on display, the Slammy Award on display, and a ton of stuff to talk about as we're kind of all recovering from a lengthy week following this past Sunday's Wrestlemania, and we'll go over the results to Wrestlemania 29 in length. And I guess since we're here at the Kids Expo, one thing I got to admit and get off, not even get off my chest, but get out there, be a little honest about. A couple weeks ago, my 8-year-old accomplice, my good buddy Alex, he was in studio, and we kind of went head-to-head on our picks for WrestleMania 29, and wouldn't you believe it, he actually beat me? That's right, he picked 8 out of the 10 matches correctly. I only picked 7, so much for me being an expert or something. Leave it to an 8-year-old to outpick me. I guess we'll have to have him back on for Extreme Rules coming up in the middle of next month and see if he can take me again. It looks like it'll have to be a segment. Can you outpick an 8-year-old? We'll definitely have to see about that. But WrestleMania, first thing to start off with here at Senator Tommy Tomlinson's Kids Expo. Make sure you come on out here. Of course, The Miz beating Wade Barrett to win the Intercontinental Championship, although that'll be short-lived. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up later. And then to start off the show, The Shield in that 6-man tag match against Randy Orton, Sheamus, and The Big Show. Well, turns out Big Show couldn't be trusted after all as he tagged himself into the match trying to win it, and that led to some dissension that
I'll send you the
caused
check.
the Shield to garner a victory, and the Shield ended up taking that. Mark Henry and Ryback, the battle. Mark Henry ended up beating Ryback, much to my surprise, but he ended up getting his heat back the next night on Raw. A very interesting Raw, and we'll get into that coming up on the other side of our first time out here. Daniel Bryan and Kane beating Dolph Ziggler and Big E Langston. They held on to the tag team championships. Fandango, he certainly had himself a week, and we'll talk more about that as well, but he beat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania in just under 10 minutes. Alberto Del Rio, he, at least for WrestleMania, remained your world heavyweight champion, beating Jack Swagger. And then, of course, the three big ones. The Undertaker beating CM Punk. The match of the night, without question, to go 21-0 at WrestleMania in his career, a record that will never be touched. It'll be like Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak. It's one of those that nobody's touching that ever until it happens. We'll see. Who knows? But this one seems very unlikely it's going to ever be broken. Triple H, his career is still intact as he beat Brock Lesnar in a match, a no-holds-barred match, where his career was on the line. And then finally, John Cena and The Rock for the WWE Championship. Much to the delight of, I'm sure, a lot of fans here, John Cena beating The Rock to become your WWE Champion once again. As far as my predictions certain to go wrong, I mean, I still did okay. 7-3 for the event, including the match that was bumped from the card. That's right. For those of you who are looking for tons of funk and the Funkadactyls against Rhodes Scholars and the Bella Twins, due to time constraints, because Diddy's concert apparently went a little bit long, that got bumped to Raw the next night. But I kept it in there since I still made a pick for it, and lo and behold, that was the one that put things over the top, as Alex guessed that one correctly, and I didn't. I was going with my heart instead of my head, picking Rhodes Scholars.
You know, Fearon, I'm wondering if you're ready to take any calls or if you want to set things up for a little bit longer, because we do have Ed from the Northeast on the line, and I'm hopeful that...
Ed the showstopper. All right, well,
if he's the showstopper, maybe we should wait until a little bit later on to take his phone call.
Well, you know what? I mean, I know we've got... it's weird. It's the first time we've been on the road in a while, and you never know what's going to happen. So, I mean, let's give it a go and see what happens. Let's roll them dice. Why not? Let's get Ed up here.
Good
Ed,
afternoon.
what's going on?
Good afternoon. We have 5 good shows this afternoon, tonight. We have CZW in Voorhees, Best of the Best at 7 p.m.
Okay, a veritable local smorgasbord. What else you got?
We have one in New York with Jay Lethal and Tony Atlas at the St. Lucie Center. We have one in... There's plenty of them to pick from. And we have Lost in a Cage.
For those who
MMA.
didn't quite get your fill of wrestling this past weekend with everything going on up in North Jersey, now it's kind of moved into the Philadelphia area, so there's a lot of local activity going on in the tri-state area, to say the least.
Yes, and we're going to have one coming up in probably the sometime. I should have more information on that one.
All right, looking forward to it, Ed. Thanks so much for the call. They don't call him Ed the Showstopper for nothing. All right, let's get back to the WrestleMania talk here now. I was there live. I was among the 80,676 in attendance, which that's the second largest WrestleMania attendance in the history of the event. The only one that was larger was WrestleMania 3, March 29th, 1987. Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, the Pontiac Silverdome. That had 93,173 fans. But, I mean, 80,676 isn't too shabby.
That is a lot of WrestleManiacs.
Absolutely, and I was among them. The philosopher Chris Ermer, engineering here at the event, doing all the awesome stuff that he does. The most mobile engineer and definitely the most competitive engineer. I was trying to figure out how to not throw anybody under the... No.
This side of the Rockies?
This side of the Rockies. There we go.
That'll work, although it's not true, but that's still... I'll take that compliment. I appreciate it. Great to be here with you today, Fearon. And
he'll throw down with any engineer anywhere.
You know, don't mean to jump in on the action, but...
no, by all means. I love interactivity.
Good beta test we had with Ed right there, so we will be able to take some calls, it seems like, throughout the program today. And I know we're here, we're live, we're going to be talking to people on site as well, but seems like we'll be good to chat by phone about all things wrestling.
Yeah, obviously a lot to kind of recover from after what was a lengthy weekend. I mean, I talked a little bit about Access last week, and because we were here on the road, I didn't want to get up the interviews that I gotten up at Access, but those will be coming up over the next few weeks. We've got Damian Sandow we talked to. This was kind of a joint venture between Mike Samsel and I, the two wrestling nuts, to say the least. Samsel's chimed in on the program on quite a few occasions. He and I tag teamed up at Access to get some great interviews from Damian Sandow, Kofi Kingston, William Regal, as well as the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, the longtime manager. So.
Well, you know, I didn't mean to...
Oh, go ahead.
Interrupt. You were kind of setting the stage. You were setting the scene. You were there with 80,000 other individuals. And, it was a night of wall-to-wall action.
Yeah, he has established a legacy at the WrestleMania event. He has wrestled in 21 of them now. He has not lost a single time. And since it's only an annual event, that means to be able to be competitive for 21 years... I mean, that's unfathomable.
I mean that is really good, but nothing beats an astronaut, as the Axe body spray commercials would indicate. And we have an astronaut here, so if the Undertaker's in town, I'd like to see him come here to Council Rock South High School and see if indeed nothing beats an astronaut, because we have one here with us today.
Well, we'll see. That may have to be your matchup for WrestleMania 30 down in New Orleans.
That was my audition for the promo. I said, come on down. We got an astronaut right here.
We have an astronaut. We've got, I believe we have the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts representing here. Boy Scouts kind of, near and dear to my heart, being an Eagle Scout and all that. We've got, we've got Etna. We've got so many different things. Bucks County Parks. A little bit of entertainment, a little bit of education. I mean, I mentioned a lot of the educational stuff, but there's some stuff to keep people engaged if the educational stuff isn't your thing, which some it won't, but I know for a lot of people it will. We got a moon bounce right here next to us. There's right now for the next hour a magician and illusionist going on, so a litany of things going on. But let's see. I'm looking to you here. Do we want to? I know we got a couple people hanging on the line. Do we want to take care of our first time out and then get to them on the other side, or do we have time to squeeze one of them in? I want to make sure they get their full time. So.
Yeah. We could do. We could talk to Dan just to keep things moving along. Dan from Chicago, I think.
Oh yes.
Online.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and get Dan up. Dan, what's going on?
How you doing, Ron? Can you hear me?
There we go. We got you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. WrestleMania for me was just okay. Obviously the match of the night was Undertaker versus CM Punk. That was pretty good. But it seems to me, again, it looks like they're going towards building for next year again with The Rock hurting himself. And from what Booker T was stating on Monday, that The Rock still has his rematch clause, and I think he's going to cash that in at WrestleMania 30. What's your thoughts on that? Because I think that it's because right now it's tied 1-1, and you have the final fall at WrestleMania 30. What's your thoughts on that?
Interesting. I don't know if they're necessarily going that direction. I mean, with The Rock being injured, it does open up some possibilities, but kind of the thing that you have to think about also is, I mean, with this injury, I mean, for those who don't know, The Rock, it was announced on Raw, but in case you missed it, you certainly missed a heck of a show. But The Rock suffering a torn abdominal muscle and abductor, which I'm not a medical expert, but I forget if that's the inner or the outer part of the thigh. I don't know. Philosopher, okay. Yeah, hoping you could bail me out on that one. But also suffering a hernia during his match against John Cena at WrestleMania 29. He was treated by University of Miami physician Lee Kaplan on Monday, and he actually tweeted a picture of himself hitting the rock bottom on Cena and pointing out that particular moment. That was where he pulled out those muscles and tendons from the bone. So Rock also tweeting a thank you to the team of doctors and added rehab starting in 3, 2, and then hashtag bring it. So he might be making his way back, and who he's going to face, well, that's yet to be determined. Will he even come back? After an injury like this, I'm sure a lot of movie producers are going, all right, this is a big-time star. We don't need him going and getting himself hurt when we've got him scheduled for, to film X, Y, and Z movies coming up. So based on that liability, might we have seen The Rock's last match? That's certainly yet to be determined. Anyway, Dan, thanks so much for the call. I believe we're going to go ahead and take care of some business. We're going to come back and talk about what was an insane Monday Night Raw this past week. We'll also talk some TNA Impact. This was a highly touted show, of course, featuring a rematch from Lockdown, Bully Ray and Jeff Hardy, but this time in a Full Metal Mayhem match, which is essentially tables, ladders, and chairs, but that's trademarked by WWE, so they had to call it something else. And I don't know. I think there was a bit of an overkill by that point on Thursday, as not a lot of people watched Impact, or it could be the product itself. We'll certainly debate that. Plus, we'll get to Ron from Levittown, who's hanging on the other side. We're here live at Senator Tommy Tomlinson's Children's Expo here for Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.